Now, if you can't pull her or go with her, okay, plan A or plan B, and trust me, this will happen as well, okay? Sometimes the logistics will just not allow anything to go down. You know, if we take that girl with the drunk roommate, for example, she could be like, listen, I can't go with you, okay? I can't go along with plan A. My roommate is drunk. I'm just stuck with her. You know, I'm the designated driver, but plan B is not going to happen either, okay? There's no room in the car here. My roommate's, you know, already throwing up all over the seats. It's just not going to go down, okay? Now, of course, push it as far as you can, okay? Gun to the head. If you don't fuck her, your family dies. But as soon as you know it's just not going to happen, okay, no matter how many little logical excuses you give her, instead of just barreling through and burning it to the ground in a very unproductive way, opt for plan C, which is get her number. Okay, you can always get her phone number, see her sometime in the future where the logistics are a little bit better, and make something happen then. Okay, but the number is not your main goal. Okay, keep that in mind. Always go for plan A and plan B first. And if that doesn't work out, the number is the backup of the backup. And that's really how you should view it. Okay, like a phone number isn't some little stepping stone, you know, to help you achieve sex. You know, like some guys will be talking to girls and they'll be like, well, with this girl here, you know, she's a little classier, you know, she's a little more beautiful, or she's just not that type of girl. And with her, in order to sleep with her, you know, I need to ask for the phone number first. You know, it's like that little stepping stone. Or with her, I need the phone number to then sleep with her on like a date because, you know, she's just not that type of girl. Okay, wrong. Always aim for sex. The phone number is just the backup of the fucking backup. Okay, never aim for the phone number. Funny enough as well, when you're trying to go for plan A or plan B, aka sex, it's sometimes best that you don't get the phone number beforehand. Okay, because if you get it and then you're like, well, let's go to the after party, you know, the girl doesn't have as much, you know, motivation or leverage, if you will, to go with you. Because she could be like, well, I can go to the after party and fuck this guy, or I could not go to the after party and I could still see him because now, you know, we have our numbers. If you don't give her the number, she's like, well, I can go to the after party and fuck this guy, but if I don't, I'll risk never seeing him ever again. Okay, so the number is never your main goal. And a number two isn't like this little nugget of validation, you know, where you're like, oh, I got a phone number, yay! Okay, fuck that. A number is ultimately a bridge, you know, to the second part of the interaction, which is now split, okay? Because that's what you're doing. You're trying to go all the way through to sex, and when you can't, you split that interaction in two, okay? There's the first part up to the number is the little bridge, and then there's the second part, okay, which you'll basically plan sometime in the future with better logistics where you can ultimately go to the end zone. Now, the most common scenario or situation you're going to find yourself in going for plan C, okay, going for the phone number, is going to be during the first part of the night. Okay, remember, during that time, the girl's download bar or buying temperature is still very low. She just arrived in the venue. She's not ready to get fucked yet. Okay, she's like, look, I just got here. I can't fucking leave. You know, I want to experience that emotional buildup first. And plan A, no, 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 no. Plan B, no, 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 no. So what do you have? Plan C. Okay, now of course, it can happen that during that time you'll meet that one girl where, you know, there's like the high buying temperature and you can just fucking pull, but most of the time, you're just gonna be going for plan C. Okay, so during the first part of the night, I'm always getting a shitload of fucking numbers. Okay, I call it building leads. So instead of just going out, you know, and during that first part of the night, you just focus on building that massive reservoir of fun, abundance, you know, growing into the 4 pillars of sexworthiness, being purposeful, controlled, flowing, self-amused, you know, and then later on you commit to a girl, you try to make something happen with plan A or plan B when the download bars are much higher, okay? If on top of all of that, during that first part, you start asking for the phone number of every girl that you talk to, you know, building those leads, at the end of the night, say if something just doesn't happen, you know, you try for plan A, it doesn't work, you try for plan B, it doesn't work, and you're just like, well, fuck. Now you have all these girls you can basically text, that you can call, that you can make something happen with. Okay, you didn't let those interactions go to waste. Okay, now of course, no interaction is truly ever going to go to waste. Okay, every time you take action, you're gonna, learn something, you're gonna grow into your own. But if you get the numbers, now you can make something happen. The same with the next day. Okay, the next day you can still text them, you can still call them, you can still try to make something happen, and don't use it as an excuse just because their download bar was low. If you really like the girl, like just not to pull. It's like get the number, and now the opportunity is still there. Okay, the door is still fucking open. So during that first half, build leads. Okay, that is where you're going to be getting the most phone numbers. Now it can still happen in the second half. Okay, sometimes you'll be talking to a girl, and maybe it's a girl you just don't want to commit to. You're like, you know what, this girl's hotness does not justify the logistics. Okay, because that'll happen as well. You might be talking to a very attractive girl with horrible logistics, like just, oh, I'm with all these friends, I'm the designated driver, and you're like, oh man, you know what, there's probably other hot girls here with easier logistics that I might want to commit to instead, and in that case, you can go for plan C. But in general, the most numbers you're going to get is going to be during that first part of the night. So the first thing you're going to want to be doing, when getting the phone number, is making sure that you're just very clear in your intentions. Okay, just very clear in terms of why you're getting the phone number, and that is, of course, to see her again. Okay, it's like, look, I'm getting the phone number to fucking see you again, and you better make sure that she knows that as well. Okay, because for a girl, a phone number isn't really that big of a deal. Okay, they will give their phone number out pretty much to everyone. Okay, and a lot of times they just give it out to get rid of the person, okay, or to reward them and just be very polite. I see this all the time. Guys go up, they start talking. It might even be like the drunk guy at the bar just yelling stories to everyone. He goes up, he's like, hey, young lady, and he just won't fucking leave. How does she get rid of him? You know what, here's my number. And he's like, oh, the number, thank you. Have a great night, man. And just walks off, and she'll never see that guy again, ever. Okay, or she'll do it, if the guy's just putting in a lot of effort. She's like, you know what, this guy's so nice, he's so sweet, like a little dog. Look at him trying so hard. I don't want to make him feel bad. I don't want to be mean, so to reward him, here's my phone number. Okay, here's the little treat, doggy. Now run along, okay? You do not want that. You're like, look, I'm getting your phone number because I can't follow plan A or plan B right now. I can't fuck you, so I'm getting the phone number, and I'm getting the phone number to see you again, so I can follow plan A or plan B then, so I can fuck you then. Make sure that she knows, be very clear in that, and be just full on unapologetic just in the vibe, okay? It's like, look, what's your phone number? Don't be like, oh, can I have your phone number, please? Just boom, okay? Just very, very clear. Now, if you have trouble doing this at first, okay, because it can be pretty scary, like if you're not used to getting the phone number, you'll be going up and talking to girls, and they're like, oh man, now it's time to ask for the number. Can I have your number? And it's like this little lull in the interaction. If you're not used to doing it, for a certain amount of time or a certain period of time, make it a habit of just asking every single girl for their phone number. Okay, no matter what. As a general rule, just tell yourself that if an interaction lasts longer than, say, 2 or 3 minutes, you're gonna be asking for that fucking number. Okay, now, that doesn't mean ask for the number 2 to 3 minutes in. Okay, don't go up to the girl like, oh, it's 2 minutes now, what's your phone number? Okay, try to go as far as you can go, but if it's longer than 2 or 3 minutes, before you leave, make it a habit of asking for the fucking number, okay? Even if you think you're not gonna get it, because sometimes you just never know. Like the girl who's like, you know what, I guess so. You're like, can I have your number? She's like, sure. Okay, and then the nicest girl's like, oh, what the fuck, how dare you ask me for my number? Okay, you never know until you start asking a lot of girls for their fucking phone number and you start getting a grasp of that dynamic there. Okay, so make that a rule. Okay, like any interaction 2 or 3 minutes in, if it's longer than that, ask for the fucking number, and ultimately you just want to make it a habit. Okay, you're not even thinking about the number anymore. It's just something that you do. It's part of who you are. Every girl, you're like, da 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 da. So anyway, what's your number? And it's just completely casual. It's not a big deal. It's not like, number time. It's just whoosh. And as a side note, when doing this, also make it a habit of organizing the numbers in your phone. Okay, because you're gonna be getting a lot of numbers if every single interaction that's longer than 2 or 3 minutes, you're like, can I have your number? You're gonna be getting a ton, okay? And it's tough to always remember all the numbers you got, for example, that night out, so organize them. Okay, what I usually tend to do is I'll put the letter A in front of their name. Okay, I'm like, A, Chelsea, A, Julie, A, Sandra. Okay, so I have them say at the end of the night when the download bars are higher, or the next day, and then once you're at home, you can like organize them a lot more in detail. But as a general rule, put the letter A in front, find a way to organize those numbers so you can easily just go back to them. Now, if you can't remember the girl's name, okay, because this will happen too, you're like, oh shit, I don't remember her name, an easy way to get it from her is just flip it around on her. You're like, by the way, what's my name? Do you remember my name? And she'll be like, not really, because everyone fucking forgets names. In that case, you can be like, you know what? Me neither. What was your name already? She's like, oh, Sandra. Julian, nice to meet you. Anyway, what's your number? Okay, and now you have her name. Now, sometimes the girls will remember your name. They're like, well, it's Julian. You don't remember mine? And you're like, okay, like don't freak out if that happens. Just don't make it into a big deal. Just be like, you know what? I remember everything about you than your name. Sorry, I'm just horrible with names. I do this with everyone, okay? Especially when meeting someone, the last thing I'm really concerned about is their name. You know, I'm just getting a sense of their vibe, okay? Just keep it very casual that way. And, you know, you can even use it as a little challenge. Like you just look at them with that little, you know, twinkle, just like, what you gonna do? I don't fucking remember your name. How does it feel? The next thing you're gonna wanna be doing, you know, when getting the phone number is setting up and determining the logistics for the second half of the interaction. Okay, remember, when you get the number, you split the interaction in two. It's no longer open all the way to sex. It's open, number, little bridge, second part, sex. Okay, and the more you do in person, the less you have to do on the phone. And trust me, it's a lot easier to do this in person. Okay, ultimately, you want to be minimizing all of the work that you have to do on the phone. Okay, so when I'm asking for the number, I'm gonna be saying things along the lines of, when are we hanging out? You know what, hang out with me later tonight. Hang out with me tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna be talking about that second part of the interaction, okay, then and there, and how we're ultimately going to make that happen. Okay, so I don't have to do it on the fucking phone.
You have Facebook or WhatsApp or nothing?
I'll never give you anything.
Oh.
Are you gonna cry? How does it make you
No,
feel?
no, I don't cry.
No, what are you doing tonight? Phone number, first name, last name. Well, I'll text you later. Try to come to Live. If not, hang out with me tomorrow.
Okay,
What are you doing tomorrow?
I don't know.
Really?
Everything.
You can be my tour guide. Well, you're not even from here. We can be tourists together, walk around Miami.
Okay.
Because I'm new as well.
Sure.
So if it's a girl I met in the first part of the night, when is the next available opening or opportunity for me to pursue plan A or plan B? The end of the night, okay, when her download bar is higher. So what am I gonna do when I get the phone number? I'm gonna be like, listen, you probably have to go back to your friends. I have to go back to my friends. You know, we're both building our little, you know, emotional movies here. You know, we don't wanna spend the next 4 hours just talking to each other. You know, how boring is that? Now, of course, don't say all that to the girl. Just be, look, you have to go back to your friends. I have to go back to mine. Let's hang out later. What is your phone number? Okay, that's it. Let's hang out later. What's your phone number? You know what? Have a drink with me later. You know, I have to go back to my friends. What's your phone number? Or you know what? Let's grab some food later. What are you doing later tonight? Okay, I'm gonna be talking about the second part of that interaction later that night, and then we're gonna discuss the logistics, if it's possible, yes or no. But I wanna plant that fucking seed in person. Now, if she can't later that night, or you're talking to a girl and it's already later that night, when is the next available opening or opportunity? The next day. So you can be like, you know what? Hang out with me tomorrow then. What are you doing tomorrow? Okay, my personal go-to if I'm like going to see her the next day is have coffee with me tomorrow. Okay, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's hang out, let's have coffee. Now, as we've already discussed, okay, introducing coffee the next day, you know, in a more down to earth, a little bit more of a real setting, really helps cement yourself in her reality. It's like, look, I'm not just some fun little emotion, you know, I'm not some little fun time in the venue, I'm actually a real person, and it also reinforces that you're getting the number to see her again. Because you're like, look, I'm not just getting the number to get the number, okay, it's not some little treat for a dog, it's I'm getting the number so we can what? Have coffee tomorrow. Okay, and I'll even introduce this if I'm busy the next day. Okay, you can always change your mind. You can be like, you know what, have coffee with me tomorrow, and then the next day you just text her, listen, I can't make it for coffee, what are you doing tonight? Okay, so that is my go-to. I highly recommend that you do this as well. Have coffee with me tomorrow. Now, once you introduce this, she's gonna come up with, oh, I might be busy tomorrow, I don't know if I can. Or she'll be like, sure. Okay, and then the more you discuss the details, the better. Okay, so if I'm like, you know what, have coffee with me tomorrow. What are you doing tomorrow afternoon? She's like, Nothing really. Okay, let's meet up. When are we hanging out? When can you meet up? Can you do like 4 p.m.? Can you do 5 p.m.? And the more detailed, the better. Okay? Now, don't do it so much to the point where you become very needy, and insistent, like, tell me the detail, tell me the detail. Okay, like, it's okay to not go massively in detail to keep it vague, but ultimately you want to hammer on enough so that it becomes, again, this realistic option. It's not like, you know what, let's have coffee tomorrow. Because girls will be polite, they'll be like, sure. And then you're like, okay, are you free tomorrow afternoon? What are you doing tomorrow afternoon? Then they'll be like, oh, I'm actually working. Okay, you'll see this. Or if they're free, you're like, okay, we're hanging out at this Starbucks at this intersection. Can you do that? I guess so. Realistic option. Now she's actually thinking of it. Now, if she can't do coffee the next day, that's fine, but find out what the logistics are. Okay, you're working tomorrow. What are you doing tomorrow night? What are you doing the day after that? When are you free? Okay, the more you can do in person, the better.
Have coffee with me.
Where?
Next to Roosevelt, Chiago's.
When?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you serious about coffee tomorrow?
Yes, good.
What's my name?
Jillian.
817-901.
You added a 3. I don't know where that came from.
And your name was? I remember faces. I suck with names. I'm actually serious, dude. If you can tomorrow, either coffee or I have plans tomorrow night, but early evening drinks or something. What area do you live in?
North Hollywood?
Near
Magnolia and Milan?
Call me, same.
Call me.
And I really can't stress just how important it is, okay, when setting up and determining the logistics for that second part of the interaction to make it happen as soon as possible. Okay, realize that once you decide to split the interaction into, okay, with the phone number being the bridge in the middle, the longer you take, okay, in between, the more likely it is that she's going to flake, and the more likely it is that you're not ever going to see her again. Okay, you want to make the bridge as small as possible. It's like you want to make it happen fast. So if I'm talking to a girl, I'm like, okay, I'm going to introduce right now the second part. I'm going to go for the number. When is the next available opportunity for me to see her again? If it's early in the night, the next available opportunity is later that night. If it's later that night, the next available opportunity is the next day. Okay? If she can't later that night, the next day. If she can't the next day, when is the next time I can fucking see her? Make it happen fast. Don't just take your time or plan something like a week from now. What you have to realize is that girls are getting hit on all the fucking time. Okay? They're not like you. Okay, when they walk down the street, everyone's staring at them, okay, especially if they're extremely hot. A lot of guys are going up talking to them. A lot of guys are asking for their fucking number, okay? If you see like a girl's Facebook, it's like, all these guys. If you're on fucking Tinder, all these guys, okay? You want to make something happen fast while you're still in her fucking mind. The longer you wait, the more you're just gonna disappear. All of that investment, that she's putting in the interaction, gone, okay? All of the qualification that you've done, gone, okay? All of that togetherness, gone. So try to make it happen as soon as possible. The third thing you're going to want to be doing, and this is going to massively help in terms of reducing, the likelihood of her flaking on you or never seeing you again, okay, on top of making the bridge in between as small as fucking possible, is amping up the investment and amping up the qualification. Okay, so for example, when I'm asking a girl for a phone number, I might be like, you know what are you doing tomorrow? Let's have coffee tomorrow, let's hang out. Okay, and she might be like, you know what, sure, that sounds pretty cool. Let's go for coffee tomorrow. Now, to amp up the investment, I might create some windows of investment here. I might be like, you know what, do you really want to, or are you just saying that? It's like, no, I really want to. Okay, she invests a little bit more in the second part of the interaction. And they'll be like, you know what, because you don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, you can even do this when asking for the phone number. Like, what's your number? Let's hang out. Okay, that sounds good. Are you just saying that, or do you really want to hang out? Okay, now make sure you don't come off as being insecure. Okay, it's kind of like a little challenge in the way you say that. It's like, do you really want to, or are you just saying that? Okay, don't be like, do you really want to? Okay, it's like that little self-amused kind of like challenging vibe. Because you don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to, We could also just never see each other. Like, I give a fuck. I'm in my little bubble of self-amusement. Okay, so you can kind of create those windows there where she's like, you know what, I want to. Okay, when you get the number, you're like, call me. She's like, why? Say it. Call me? Say it again. Convincingly. Call me. Okay, when are we hanging out? Tomorrow. Okay, amping up the investment that way. And on top of that, also qualifying her some more. It's like, you know what, I actually really like you. Okay, I'll say stuff like that when I get the number. Or like, you know what, I'm curious about you now. Why are you curious? I'll tell you when I see you. Okay, something like that. Or, you know what, I'm really glad I met you. I'm excited to hang out. You know, there's this awesome coffee place. It's gonna be the shit. Okay, so amp up the investment, amp up the qualification. And lastly, be fucking discreet when getting the phone number. Okay, similar to, you know, with last minute resistance, just pulling the condom out, like, ho, 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 condom, okay, and make her feel like a slut, you know, like self-conscious. Don't do that with the phone, okay? Don't be like, oh, so what's your phone number? Okay, and just pull out the phone, okay? Be fucking discreet, okay? Even if the friends like you, okay, if you pull out the phone, all the eyes are now on this girl, okay? Everyone is ultimately, quote unquote, judging her. They're like, oh, he asked for the number. Let's see what she's gonna do. Is she gonna be a little bit more of a slut? Is she gonna give her number out? Yes or no? And she's gonna feel that, and sometimes will say no to you just because she doesn't wanna feel judged. Okay, she'll be like, oh, I can't do it because now everyone's staring. And maybe there's like a guy in her social group who likes her, but she doesn't necessarily like him, but she likes to maintain that value. And she's like, oh, if he sees me do it, he's not gonna like me anymore. He's gonna think I'm a slut. Oh my God, oh my God. So hide it when you fucking get the number, okay? Be very discreet about it. Because even if you do get it sometimes, like you're, oh, what's your phone number? She's like, sure, here you go. As soon as you leave, the friends might be like, oh, so, haha, you gave that guy your number. And then what is she gonna do to preserve her value? Oh no, I didn't like him, I was just giving it, you know, just to be nice, okay? And even if she originally liked you, she's not gonna wanna see you again. She's not really gonna text you that much, because then she'll seem like a slut if she sees you again. Because her friends gonna be like, oh, so you did like that guy. Slut, slut, slut. Okay, so hide the fucking phone. Whenever I get a number, I'm like, okay, what's your phone number? I'll put the phone to the side here. I'll even turn away from the friends and put the phone here. I'm like, what's your phone number? Tell me, and then I'll put it in my phone, okay? Don't be like, what's your phone number? Don't be like, here, put your number in, okay? You can do that if you're kind of like turned away, like here, put your fucking number in, but make sure you're not too, you know, just, you know, extravagant about it, okay? Like be fucking discreet. And one last thing, don't fucking leave as soon as you get the phone number. Okay, I see this. Guys will go up, they start talking, it goes amazingly well. They're like, look, let's hang out later tonight. Let's hang out for coffee tomorrow. What's your phone number? They're discreet, they hide the phone, they take her number, they text the girl their name, and then they just fucking bounce. They're like, whoo, and just like run off. Do not do that, okay? At least stay in another 10, 20, 30 seconds, just casually chatting and then say goodbye, okay? You don't want to be the guy who's just going up just to get the number. If you go up and you talk and you bounce when you got the number, what does that communicate? Oh, he was just there for the number. I guess he can't get sex, or he doesn't view sex as being like real. You know, this guy must be pretty low value. Or she might even feel kind of like you, it's like, what the fuck? Like all that talk was not to know me, it wasn't to build togetherness, it was just for the number. Ew, okay? Or it kind of communicates as a big deal. You're like, oh, the number, and then you run off. So don't do that, okay? It's not a big deal. It's like, oh, cool, I'll text you my name. So anyway, chat, 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 another 20, 30 seconds, even a little bit longer, and then leave after that.